This is truly impressive, and the European Union is a place that needs the message of economic freedom. So I'm deeply honored to be here, deeply honored by your invitation, and I want to thank Olympus for doing a marvelous job and his team in organizing it, and Mike for coming. Last night I took the red eye here from Toronto. Previous night I took the red eye from Santiago to Toronto, so 2 red eyes in a row. Normally the panelists may have to worry about the audience falling asleep. Today the panelists have to worry about the moderator falling asleep. I want to say something very quickly, and I apologize for going a touch outside the moderator's correct role, but I want to say something very quickly about the importance of economic freedom in a non-economic sense. We always think of economic freedom as being important in generating prosperity and jobs and growth, and that is very true. A century of experience shows that, but economic freedom actually changes the dynamics of a society. Without economic freedom, whoever holds power also controls the economy. So being a member of the right sect, the right ethnic group, the right linguistic group that has power means everything, because it determines whether you can get a job, get a promotion, travel, feed and clothe your family. That makes holding power a tremendously important thing that divides society between different ethnic groups. People are judged not on their abilities, but on who they know and whether their group is in power. And you get ahead in that situation not by making people better off, but by making people worse off, by gathering wealth and power to your group, your clan, your ethnic background. Economic freedom changes that whole dynamic. You get ahead by making people better off, by making goods and services that people voluntarily wish to purchase because it makes them better off. When you move from a society where you get ahead by making people worse off to a society where you get ahead by making people better off, the change in the dynamics of that society are dramatic. Also, it starts cutting across ethnic or sectarian or religious lines. You have to hire the best people, so people from other groups become your customers, your employers, your suppliers, and it begins to build tolerance. And well, the European Union now is under huge stress because of an unprecedented wave of immigration. It is the former communist states that are showing the highest level of intolerance, and those states that have had relatively free economies that are showing the highest levels of tolerance. Albeit it's not perfect, this stress is huge, but it is important to understand that economic freedom is not just an economic thing. It helps build tolerance in society. Well, today, and I apologize for going on, today we're looking at the former Soviet world. This is the history of, that's the world average economic free. I think you've got Asia up there rather than the post-communist world. Yeah, that's Asia. Do you have the post-communist world? Hopefully we'll get this sorted out in a second. I'll just start talking. Well, this goes on. What we'll see when we get to the charts is that all the post-communist, there we go.
Sorry. We're fine.
Oh, that was, okay. What we see with the post-communist world is that all the states moved up to higher levels of economic freedom, of course, with the collapse of the Soviet Union. However, those states that had been under communism for a prolonged period of time moved more slowly and got less high in economic freedom. The Baltic states, and I'm glad we have a representative from Lithuania here, the Baltic states on a whole have done very well. Georgia is also a great advance. Russia is, of course, something of a disaster, and I do want to ask Andre what's gotten into the water in Russia with this aggressiveness going all around the world. Diplomats outright lying, even though everybody knows they're lying, aggressive actions, and so on. It'd be very interesting to hear what you have to say about that. And
it's not related to economic freedom.
It is related to other people's economic freedom. Unfortunately, Russia's aggression threatens economic freedom in the Baltics and other states. And I want to find out from Georgia, is it really true? I mean, our research shows that reforming the rule of law and ending corruption is the most difficult challenge that any country faces. And typically what happens is if you improve the rule of law, it reverts to where it was. Is the rule of law reverting in Georgia? Is corruption really defeated? Also, if we had the charts, we'd see that even the successful states, Lithuania, the Baltic states, and Georgia, are only around 30th globally in rule of law. And that's just the edge for building prosperity. Countries can build prosperity with governments that are too big. They can build prosperity with trade barriers, but they cannot build prosperity without a strong functioning rule of law. Lithuania, the Baltic states, and Georgia are only around 30th. And as I say, that's about the bare minimum for building prosperity. And Russia is, of course, around 90th in rule of law globally. And it may be unraveling anymore. So with that, I'm not actually sure who starts the discussion. Georgia.